Hello and good day everyone. My name is Norina, a student from IIUM, also a primary school teacher. Together with my supervisor, Professor Dr. Afiza Ali, will be presenting about a qualitative study on English for Camping, ECP, for ESL teachers, as ESP means to instructions. The purpose of my presentation is to look at how ESL teachers view this ECP program. First, let's look at what is the study all about. In Malaysia, teachers are expected to carry out a lot of programs, from academic programs to non-academic programs, ranging from clubs and societies, the uniformed bodies, and sports. These programs require preparation and upskilling because as teachers, conducting programs on their own, they need prior training and preparation to execute such programs, which are usually made compulsory for students. First, let's look at the background of the study. So, one of the co-curricular activities held in a school that needs to be conducted every year is the camping program for all uniform bodies. It is conducted outside school hours, and usually it is conducted in the student's first language. And not many schools conducted in English. So, our English panel planned to conduct it entirely in English. So, teachers need to learn appropriate language in context. Hence, teachers need to plan their teaching strategies appropriately to ensure the program is effective. Therefore, it is also one of the teachers' professional development programs. Since 2016, Malaysia has been facing several English language reforms in response to nationwide tensions over English language performance issues. So, every time teachers participate in professional development, they will be given allocation of time. They need to attend or participate at least 7 days a year of professional development. What is the relationship with teachers' career cycle? Teachers' lives and careers affect their responsiveness to change, their sense of own effectiveness, and their approach to teaching and instruction in their own classroom, by HUBERMAN in 1993. The ECP. It is one of the initiatives to improve students' English. Before conducting the ECP program, teachers are required to attend a professional development program that teaches appropriate words used specifically for camping to ensure the effectiveness in delivery. Therefore, they are the ESP learners because they are the means to execute the program. The reasons for choosing ESL teachers as the initial learners because there are needs to be introduced among experienced teachers. Second, ESP is meant for adult learners and not the young learners, but the participant would be among those with various teaching experience and skills and needs. Next, this part, the study will be answering 2 research questions. The first one is, how do ESL teachers in different career stages view the ECP training program with regards to professional development training in ESP? The second one, what are the instructional strategies used by ESL teachers of different career stages to facilitate students in ECP? It is important to conduct this study because it could later help the teachers to conduct the program effectively, and it could be a sharing platform to improve teachers' teaching quality and get themselves updated with the latest teaching methods. Now, let's look at what other researchers say about this matter. First of all, let's understand what is professional development. Professional development is a training program where it includes any activity in which a teacher participates with the goal of improving their practice and or student achievement under the guidance and or approval of the school and or school system in which he or she is employed. Many researchers believed that teachers will develop their skills through in-service trainings, formally or informally, such as workshops, classrooms, observations, watching teaching videos, reading articles, discussions with colleagues, and many more. And these are the researchers. Now, what these researchers will say about teaching ESP and teacher training. Let's look at Brasjar's study. He said, ESP approach provides opportunities for the learners to acquire English naturally, and training of the teachers is very important for ESP courses. The need to teach young campers the jargons used in camping will be quite difficult as opposed to teaching general English in a normal classroom. According to Robinson, 1989, ESP is a goal-oriented language learning. It means that learners have a specific goal that is going to be attained. Dudley, Evans, and St. John said, the ESP practitioner's key roles areas are teacher, course designer and materials provider, collaborator, researcher, and evaluator. Research in teacher professional development. K-12 Education Team 2015 found that teachers describe the ideal professional learning experience as relevant, interactive, delivered by someone who understands their experience, sustained over time, and treats teachers like professionals. Mohammadi and Moradi 2017 said, successful professional development should start from teachers and with an acknowledgement of their educational needs, their teaching context in which professional development is to be implemented. Next, Meisel, Parr, and Timperley 2016, teachers' learning happens in multiple contexts. Therefore, these studies concluded that relevant and practical professional development programs are positive steps towards preparing English teachers to deal with the challenges they face in their classroom. Now, let's look at the literature review that's relevant to research questions number 2. First of all, let's look at the definition of instructional strategies. Instructional strategies are techniques teachers use to help students become independent, strategic learners. According to the book, effective instructional strategies can motivate and help students to focus attention, help students to learn effectively, organize information for understanding and remembering, independent strategic learners, monitor and assess learning, and learn and gain better understanding. Instructional strategies are also defined by Prasad 2018, where she said, it able to encompass any type of learning technique a teacher uses to help students learn or gain a better understanding of the course materials. Now, let's move on and look at the chronology of teachers' career stages. First, it was introduced by Bernard. After that, he further did the research in 1983 where he identified 3 phases of career stages. And later, Fullen 2001 found that professional development is a long process. Huberman's 1993 is being selected as a theoretical framework for this study because it is widely accepted in most literature. He identified 3 main phases, the same as Burden in the teacher's professional life cycle: novice, mid-career, and late career. Within these 3 phases, he further identified 6 phases of the teacher career cycle. How does this study conducted? We chose qualitative research by CRESSWELL 2012 because in qualitative research, purposeful sampling is used because we identify our participants and sites based on places and people that can best help us understand our central phenomenon. It also relies on general interviews or observations, so participants' views will not be restricted. A few open-ended data will be designed to collect data. Information supplied by participants needs to be recorded and organized. Information reported by participants to each question. Finally, it needs to be administered with sensitivity to the changes and ethical issues of gathering information face-to-face and often in people's homes or workplaces. As mentioned in previous slide, purposeful sampling was used in this study, which means researchers intentionally select individuals and sites to learn and understand the central phenomenon, right? The first sample is the middle third phase, where she has been teaching for 14 years. The second participant is in the fourth phase, which she has been teaching for 21 years in primary school. And the last participant, which is labeled as P3, in the fifth phase, where she has been teaching for 31 years. And all of the participants scored B2 in the aptitude test. Next, the research process. First of all, they attended English for Camping training program, which the input focus on the language used. They collaborate to develop a lesson. After that, they submit the lesson plan. They did some micro-teachings just to know the types of instructional strategies chosen by them. And finally, we collect data via interview sessions. First, the interview sessions were recorded, then transcribed them manually. Second, analyze common themes of patterns across data. And finally, responses were categorized and main points were identified. Next, let's look at the data analysis procedures. Thematic analysis model by Miles and Huberman in 1993. After collecting the data will be displayed manually, transcribed manually, and we look for keywords. After that, we will sort and reduce some of the unnecessary data. After that, we draw some conclusions and look for themes. So from there, we could draw the findings. The results are reported as separate case studies based on research questions. Each research question is represented by themes found in the interview data from each case study. The first case study was an interview session with a teacher labeled as P1. She is an English option teacher who has been teaching English in a primary school for 14 years. The second case study, labeled as P2, who has been teaching for 21 years in a primary school. And the third participant, who is labeled as P3 and has been teaching for 31 years in a primary school. Let's look at the results. To answer the first RQ, we need to take a look deeper at their background. First, all of the participants have attended the latest professional development program, which is the Common European Framework. So, approximately P1 has attended about 40 courses, P2 60, P3 90. So, according to them, they are relevant and related to their profession. According to P1, P2, and P3, all the courses they attended could improve their teaching skills, increase their knowledge. They could learn the latest teaching skills too. Let's look at the participants' views. According to P1, it is a good exposure, relevant, and specific. P2 said it is interesting, knowledgeable, and specific. P3, interesting, relevant, and specific. So more or less they are almost the same. Suggested activities, P1 preferred cooperative learning, experiential learning, 21st century learning. P2 differentiated learning, experiential learning. P3 differentiated learning and 21st century learning. For the activities, P1 prefers the use of technologies, and the rest of them, including P1 also, still adapt the 21st student-centered teaching approaches. During the micro-teaching session, they reported some difficulties and suggested some solutions. P1, she said she had problems in giving instructions and managing a large number of students. She suggested to group the students. As for P2, she had problems in giving instructions, and she is concerned of students with different proficiency level. And she suggested to simplify the language and to differentiate the learning based on their proficiency level. As for P3, the difficulties that she faced is giving instructions, and she suggested labeling, attention signals, chants, or scouts yell. It shows here that P3 focused more on drilling. So in conclusion, the finding for research question 1 showed that the teachers have positive views of the ECP training program and the activities that they are suggesting are different. All of them focus on improving the vocabularies of the students, but the way they need to conduct the program is different. Next, let's move on to research question number 2. Before we discuss on the instructional strategies employed for ECP, let's look at the possible obstacles faced by the participants. The first participant reported that she had problems in controlling a large number of students. According to her, in Malaysia, that we are facing this problem, that is shortage of English teachers. And as for P2, she is concerned on the pupil safety because she had problems in giving instructions. According to the third participant, she is afraid of pupils unable to remember the words and phrases. So the solution suggested by P1, she wanted to involve other teachers from other subjects to station the students and to group the students. As for P2, she said to involve more teachers and group the students. P3 said teachers use the word and phrases repetitively so that the students can understand and encounter the words several times. The instructional strategies suggested by P1 and P2 are almost the same. And as for P3, also prefer cooperative learning, but she is more focusing on brainstorming and labeling. For discussion, good teachers are lifelong learners. So overall for this study, we found that the teachers view the ECP training program as positive. Favorable instructional strategies employed by teachers of different career stages differ a bit. The first participant, who are in the third phase, she prefers to use technologies and she is concerned on classroom management, maybe because she is not convinced that she could control the students well. As for the second participant, in the fourth phase, she is concerned of the safety of the students. Furthermore, she prefers discovery learning among the students. And the last participant said that she enjoys the teaching by having simple and fun learning, since, according to her, these are primary school students. She drills a lot to help the students to remember words and phrases. She prefers labeling so that it can help the students to memorize the words. She also encourages active learning. For the conclusions and recommendation part, first, improve the education of in-service teachers, where focus also need to be given to the end career stage to avoid burnout. Second, which is to ensure positive impact on the quality of students' learning and development. Third, professional development activities or programs should be planned and implemented according to the needs and characters of teachers, relevant to teachers' teaching context, worth teachers' investment, tangible knowledge that can support their teaching, and cater to the students' needs. That's all from me. Thank you.